We believe in science of mind that there is but one infinite intelligence, one creator of all that is, one perfect God, one spirit, one substance out of which all is formed, one life essence of all being, one creative action, universal and all-powerful. We believe that this one infinite intelligence, spirit, God, whatever name is convenient and suits you, is everywhere evenly present, omnipresent, which means that there's no concentration of more in one place than another of this infinite spirit, no big, no little to it, and no distance and no nearness that are any different. So beyond the farthest galaxies that we can stretch our imagination, there is this omnipresence, and also as closer than our breathing, than the cells of our being, of our bodies. We believe that this infinite intelligence is omniscient, all-knowing, knowing itself, knowledge itself, that which is known, that which is known about. Omniscient, all wisdom, the one wisdom. We also believe this infinite intelligence is omnipotent, that is all-powerful, the one and only power. No good and evil forces in contest, one winning out over another, no duality, merely one power working as consciousness, as subconscious, and as experience. We believe that this power indwells us, surrounds us, and works through us, as us. In other words, a complete inseparability, so that we learn gradually that we cannot be apart or separate from that which made us, that which created us. We are it as us. It is expressing its allness through us. It individualizes its unindividualized beingness by means of individual forms of itself, in order to express and experience itself in the particular. Very simply, we are all in this, there is nowhere else for us to be, and it is a matter of waking up to the fact that this power is within us. It is ours to learn about, become familiar with, and to use in our daily lives in a practical and personal way. Thank you. You are where the action is. Now, we don't realize this at all. The common assumption is that the action is out there. We hear people say, well, certainly some kinds of people say, where's the action, man? And action seems to mean to us things that are going on, events, happenings, things that are taking place outside ourselves. And so quite often we feel a need for action. We feel a need for something to go on, something to happen. Perhaps we're in a rut or stagnation or waiting for things to occur, and we think of the action as happening outside. But in our teaching it is quite the opposite. What we generally assume as action, being on the outside, we assume is reaction. Now if you think of that a moment, everything that is manifest, everything that is already taking place is an effect of a cause. It's not the cause itself, it's the effect of the cause. Therefore, action is really thinking. Thinking is the action of infinite intelligence. We think, it goes into the law, the subconscious law, which picks it up exactly, responds to it by corresponding in our affairs or in our health, in our experience generally. So that what comes of that is a reaction. So when we're chasing after action, we really are chasing after reaction. The whole universe can be thought of this way. Thought and what it does. The infinite intelligence and what it does. Mind and what it does. God in action. Spirit in action through law. The law of mind in action. So that whatever we consider to be action is the result of either the thinking of the masses, the races, forever and ever back as far as we've existed as a species, to the personal thinking that we do. So that nothing exists anywhere but that hasn't been thought into action. Now this takes a bit of working out. For instance, what is war? War has no prototype whatsoever in perfect spirit. War has been thought up, created by man. Man has put hostilities, ignorant use of the law, false interpretations of what is right and wrong into action. War is a reaction to erroneous thinking, ungodlike thinking. It appears to solve certain things, but it never does. It creates more problems to solve of a different nature. One form of war breeds another form of war. It takes different aspects, but it is always an erroneous usage of life's purpose and life's material and God's intention. Revolutions, protests, rebellions, crimes, whether a single crime of murder or a massive crime of nation against nation or groups against groups, These are all false interpretations of the meaning of life. They are thought up by man. They are created by our thinking. Now when I say by man, that gives us a nice sense of detachment, because mankind, or that's over there, but we've all taken part in it. Every time we go with it, accept it, assume it's part of life, we're contributing to this era. And until all that becomes clear, we can't change it. Now, if we have confusion in our lives, fear, anxiety, frustration, dissatisfaction, it is all reaction to what we're thinking. It is not first cause. It is not the cause of what is happening. If we think more happily, if we think in a kindly way, in a way that believes in mankind, in each other, that believes that life is good, that believes life can be happier, more fulfilling, more valuable, personally and for all, then that goes into law. That is reacted to as a good experience. That brings about much happier conditions, because all the conditions in the world are the results of our thinking. So every condition, and you can say this categorically, of every condition is an effect of thinking. Now, we haven't known until recently, until a teaching like this comes along, and others similar to it, that thinking is a force that is always at work. It is an energy that is always in action. And until we know that, then we are going to join the errors. We are going to add our thinking to the mass thinking that creates all the troubles. And we don't know we're doing it. So there has got to come a point which has come about in our reaching a point of self-consciousness, self-conscious life, deliberate, conscious thinking, whereby we don't then just allow this thinking process to run like a machine that's been left on. I think of a tape recorder that's been left on. You go away, and all the time you're perhaps not in the slightest bit aware that you've left it on, but all the time it's been recording. Now it doesn't have an effect, except that you hear all the sounds that have been taken onto the tape. And you can think of many analogies for this random type of thinking until we're aware. Now, and even after we become aware, there seems to be quite a long period of acceptance that this is really so, of taking it seriously, that our thinking is really and truly creating our experience, that it is not only important, but vital, that we should be aware what we're thinking. And as we become aware, through very close self-detection, listening to ourselves, watching what we're feeling, becoming aware of the feeling and thought that combines, because feeling supports and backs up thought. the stronger the feeling with the thought, the more impact the thought has. For instance, if you're just thinking how nice it would be if someone visited you, that's not a tremendous, overwhelming thought. Unless you have a longing for this person to visit you. This is something that you really want, that you are doing everything you know how to bring about, and you have emotion that goes along with it. That is much more likely to bring that visitor to you than a mild sort of contemplation of the possibility that someone will visit you. And that's not a marvelous example. But all of our mild thinking, without much feeling behind it, has very mild response. Because the law is like a sensitive machine that picks up the exact tenor of your thinking. How much do you really mean it? How much do you really want it? How much do you really believe in it? How true is it for you? Is it a passing fancy? Or is it something strongly in your desire? Also, if you dislike strongly, even hate, if you've got strong hostility feelings, aggression, all of those things that are emotional, if there's someone that you are suppressing tremendous animosity towards, that is going into law and building up to have a reaction in your life. So, becoming aware is the next stage, the self-conscious taking control. And by control, I don't mean the awful connotations that can go with that. Listening to this program on Scientology the other night, I realized that a lot of people mistake, because we have the word science of mind, that we might be somewhat similar to Scientology. And I've never known how precisely different we were till I heard this program the other night, in which, yes, they think thinking is powerful. They think thinking is utterly important. But they tell you what to think. They take your mind and work with it and brainwash it until the point that you are thinking what they want you to think. The total opposite of us, where we have no dogma, no ritual, no rules, no regulations. It is totally do-it-yourself. We do not tell anybody what to think. We only talk about the importance of thought. That it is the all-powerful acting force of life. What we think about becomes our experience, but what we think about is up to us. We can either ignore the whole thing, go out of here and say it doesn't matter, I don't believe any of this, I don't have to follow this, I don't want to be bothered. And that's perfectly all right with the infinite. The infinite waits forever for us to wake up. It waits in smiling repose for our enlightenment. So it is not in a hurry. But once we know that our thinking, and once we see it and understand how important it is, and mainly by testing it out, the best way, of course, is to watch it work, to see the results for yourself in your life of the quality of your thinking. Watch it go to work, one way or the other. You will see, oh yes, this really is so and it really does work. And this is a self-discovery. It's not impinged upon you. It's simply suggested to you to watch this and see how it happens. So, at a certain point, we wake up, we become conscious, And then we have the responsibility to ourselves, not to anybody else. We have no responsibility to anybody on earth for our thoughts. The responsibility is only our own. We've heard the evidence, we've wakened up to its working, we are conscious of it, we see that conscious thinking programs the subconscious law which brings it into result, effect, reaction. We know it is so. Now if we turn our back on it, we do not feel comfortable anymore. We know that we're turning our back on our good, on the greatest possible hope of a better life, of an absolutely sure way to create a better life. And to turn our back on that creates guilt, and that is not something we're going to, as a teaching, are laying on you. If not, we don't want you to go into a guilt trip. We want you to see that the responsibility is to take charge of your own thinking and to lead it and direct it into ways that are constructive, so that if you want a great change in your life, you change your thinking. If you find things are repeating themselves in a rather fearsome pattern that goes on and on, then you know there is no way that you can change that except to change your attitude, to change your belief, to see it another way and to place that into law. What we want to is action, thought as action on its very best and highest mode. We want to see the result, the reaction, which we call action, begin to lift, to lighten, to produce wonderful new events and happenings. We stop chasing after the excitements out there, the diversions. They're fine. Life is beautiful out there. That which is a reaction is often very beautiful. Music is a reaction to man's creativity. Beautiful paintings, wonderful concerts, wonderful dramas, wonderful exhibitions. Everything that is out there, good or bad or indifferent, is a reaction. So we can move towards that which is exciting, stimulating, lovely, but to move towards something to escape, to think it's going to be the answer, the solution to our lives, that it's going to magically remove problems, is a total delusion. We can chase forever after the outer action and the outer conditions, and there will always be an anticlimax, sometime or another. People disappoint us, events disappoint us, things change out there in a way that is not what we hoped for, and so we're chasing after bubbles, illusions, and so forth. So it's fine to enjoy the world of effects, outer action, reaction, but to know that it isn't the cause. It isn't where the solutions can be found. It isn't where we set new life in motion. It isn't where we come through to the real action which is within us. All true action starts within us. in our own private thinking, beliefs, and understanding and comprehension and practice of what we know. Therefore, all I can suggest for all of us is that we become quite aware of the whole world being a mixture of man's reactions, man's initial thinking, the reactions to it. Whatever you see out there, good, bad, or indifferent, if you look at impoverishment, starvation, every unpleasant and nightmarish thing that ever happened in the world, you'll see that it was not God ordained. There was no prototype in spirit for these things, but we are given choice, volition. We can always, in order to individualize, we must have choice. So always we choose, we interpret, we decide on things, and we take certain steps, and those steps may prove to be a mistake, and then we reap the punishment of the consequence of that mistake. But we are always free to do whatever we like, and ultimately we learn. They say we learn the hard way. We do begin to learn that certain things do not work, they do not have good outcomes, that they are futile ultimately, and we start to withdraw and put them right. Now everything beautiful, good, the wonderful communication that's beginning to accelerate in the world, where people are helping each other on a grander scale, where human understanding is developing. Despite all the bad news, human beings are understanding more about each other all the time. We are progressing materially. We have more goods. In fact, sometimes I think and have thought, looking at people who are complaining on the media of having no food and no money, I wonder how they get so fat. They are so often fat. And I think, well, you can't get fat unless you've got food coming from somewhere. So we are not really that badly off here, and compared to what has happened in other parts of the world, and it's all usually down to wars, man's inhumanity to man, all errors. But the beauty is also man's. And we mustn't forget that we have the divine within us that is ever there to express itself, and does so. It does so because it is eternal. And nothing we can ever do will detract from it or damage it. All we can do is waste time misinterpreting, abusing, making enormous mistakes. The divine must triumph, for it is what created everything, and it is an amazing universe and an amazing life. So we have within our own grasp this wonderful opportunity to make life whatever we want it to be, to use our imagination to create better things, our visualisation, to think in highest possible terms of things, so that they can come through and become effects and conditions, and the absolute, the action of the absolute in the relative, if that isn't too academic. But the higher the thought, the better and higher the reaction. So to improve everything, we must lift and improve our thinking. Watch it carefully, watch its quality, work with it to increase its value. Every day of our lives we've got the opportunity to do this. From the time we wake up to the time we let our waking mind go into sleep, we've got this wonderful workshop. You might say it's a divine factory in which we can create the most beautiful outer action. If you would sit with your eyes closed and your back straight, with nothing cumbersome on your laps and your feet firmly on the ground, the idea, as those familiar here know, is that if you don't keep your back straight, the chances are, if you're a bit drowsy, you could fall off to sleep. The aim really is to be as alert as you can be, at the same time as being as relaxed as you can be. So let us start with relaxing the body, starting with the feet. First of all, breathing gently and easily. Gently and easily. Relaxed feet on the ground. Relaxed calf muscles and thighs. Easy and relaxed. Relaxed hips. Heavy on the seat. Relaxed arms and hands and fingers, lovely, limp and relaxed. Breathing easily and gently. Relaxed shoulders, all tension removed from the shoulders. Moving upward, up the back of the neck, relaxed muscles, and into the face, smooth lines, smooth away the lines that might have gathered across your forehead, around your eyes and mouth. Relaxed and smooth and serene. Relaxed eyes, so that behind your eyelids there's no tension, a serene, relaxed feeling. Relaxed jaw muscles, so often clamped and tight. Relaxed throat. Relaxed tongue, relaxed lips, breathing easily and gently, feeling beautifully peaceful and relaxed. Now we can begin to see for ourselves that we are still here, that our mind is still intact, that our body is relaxed, that our mind is still working, and that it has no borders, no confines, that it is infinite, that it extends away from us, without boundaries anywhere. And this is our spiritual being, showing us that we are spiritual beings first, and then translated into bodies as vehicles of expression. So here in this invisible spiritual realm of ourselves, There is no limit. There is really no time, and there really is no space. There is just infinite life, infinite spirit potential, waiting to be expressed and formed. We feel this spiritual aspect of ourselves as without rules, without judgments, loving, benign, that which created us with love to feel and express love. And so it must be listened to and turned to and invited. We must open ourselves to listen to this invisible spiritual realm of ourselves. We must know that it is there, always there. It never moves away from us. It is never absent. We absent ourselves from it. But it is always there, always with us, always for us. So we must turn and listen carefully, and let this infinite wisdom and love move through us, as us, so that it is part of our life, becomes us in action. I'd like now if you would be very still, and I will stop speaking. If you would try to feel this presence, feel its nearness, feel it in you, around you, listening and ready to give to you. And make your thinking new action, the action of beautiful, right and beautifully expectant thinking. Only the very highest and best, just for a few moments. You have now set new action into motion, new first cause that moves into your life as reaction, and you will see the difference and feel it, and know that this power is always yours, always here to use. It will always respond. This is your wondrous opportunity of life.